welcome to this edition of the Biker Angle. It is 11/8 of 2018. As everyone knows, it went down last night with the freaking elections. Looks like we got a split government. What that means coming later on in the show. The main topic of today is the Pagans. Insane Throttle actually obtained an interview with a witness that was in the bar the night that the cops started going all off. And the reason why we're playing this is because it goes to an important subject of what the cops are doing, especially with the Mongol case going on out in California. Now, you can't have your cake and eat it too, as I always say with the government. So let's take a listen in, and we'll get back talking to it in a minute.
Sure. Well, I got to the bar around like 8:30 or 9, and the undercovers were in there. And at that time, I don't believe that the Pagans were in the bar at that time. I mean, a couple of them might have been. But then I'd left and went to another bar, came back around like 12 o'clock at night, and everybody I know that was in there left because they said the undercovers were just picking or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It was just an awkward situation. But I was like, I'm not doing nothing wrong. I'm going to go in there. They started, they were drinking. We were drinking. The Pagans were drinking. Like, they weren't bugging nobody. The undercover and the Pagans started conversing, like, back and forth, and something was said, and I don't know exactly what was said between the two, but in my opinion, something was said and the Pagan knew, like, you're trying to set me up or whatever the case may have been. And he was like, you know what, just leave me alone. Stop talking to me. Like, and then the undercover kept harassing, not harassing, but kept saying stuff. And he was like, look, dude, I know who you are. I know what you're doing. Just stop talking to me. And then that's when the undercover started screaming at the Pagan. And in the video, you can hear, my first video, you can hear the one Pagan say, well, we don't want no problems. And then the undercover kept running his mouth. And he was like, you know what? And then the Pagan with the long hair that was getting beat up had said, you know what, you cocksucker, just, leave us alone. And he said, the undercover went and replied, oh, well, are you calling me a cocksucker? Are we calling names here? And he said, I'm not calling you nothing but what you are. And that's when the undercover came up to the Pagan with the long hair that, his face was dismembered or whatever, what I'm saying, face was all messed up, and started poking him and poking him and poking him and poking him. So, he came after him and he charged him. In self-defense, the Pagan swung on him. And once he did that, then he was like, they didn't even say that they were undercovers. But once he did that, he already knew that they were undercovers. So he put his hands on the bar. And that's when the other undercover with the hat pulled him by his hair and was pulling him down. And both of them were punching him in the face. And once they did that, then it was like an all-out brawl. And then once the other police came, that is when the undercover identified himself as a police officer. And yeah, it was just all crazy.
At no time before any of this happened, they didn't identify themselves?
No, he did not. No, he did not. He did not say, none of them said that they were a police officer at all. No, they did not. But I felt like the Pagan knew because as soon as he swung on him, he turned around and put his hands straight on the bar, and you can see that in my video, as the one officer is pulling him in the head, and the dude that's pulling him in the head is punching him with the right hand, while the big undercover is punching him in the left side of his head. And that's when I started recording because I'm like, that's ridiculous, because I knew that they were undercovers because my friends had told me that they were undercovers. Then that's when the other Pagans went to go defend him because it was never announced that they were undercovers. So once all the police started coming in, all these the Pagans were like, they were just defending themselves. They came in with pepper spray. They were like macing everybody, tasing everybody. The one dude got tased 3 times for no reason. They're like, stop resisting. He's like, I'm not fucking resisting. Excuse my language, but that's exactly what was said. You know what I'm saying? These men were trying to tell them that they weren't resisting, and they were like kneeing them, kicking them, punching them. Then the dude that they just beat his face in, they dragged him to the ground and started kneeing him in his side and in his arms and stuff. And I just felt like it was just unnecessary. So I started recording, but you can see as I'm recording, I'm acting like I'm on the phone because you can see my face. My face, like I make this funny face because that same undercover with the camo shorts had said, oh, we're taking their phones for evidence. And my friend Spencer had went on and replied, you cannot do that without a warrant. And so then he gave us back our phones. But when I posted the video, I didn't have no idea that it was going to go viral. And I don't know any pagans, you know what I'm saying? So it's not that, that I was trying to, like, defend anybody or anything. I just knew that they were being too brutal, for one. They never announced who they were, for two. And then for three, you know what I'm saying? It was just unnecessary, but, like, it was cruel.
Right.
Like, there was
now,
6 pagans and 75 police officers. Sure. Well, I got to the bar about
Yeah, and there you go. That is part 1 of the interview with the witness. We're going to have 2 other parts of that interview. Second part coming up tomorrow, and then the third the day after. But that just shows you that this was an independent witness that was just in the bar with her friends, and you can actually see her at the back of the bar doing the filming. She is actually the one who got the film out there, and it started spreading and getting the word out there before the news finally picked up the story. And I guess that they're investigating them. Of course, we know probably nothing happened to these freaking cops. But with what's going out in California with the Mongols right now, it is so important that you all understand the way the government is and the way cops are towards motorcycle clubs. A lot of you be out there bitching, moaning, yeah, the clubs, fuck them, fuck this, and fuck that. Well, until it's you. And I actually wrote an article that's going to be on Insane Throttle this morning. So go over there at HarleyLiberty.com and you'll see more information regarding what could happen if the government wins the Mongols patch case and how it would affect clubs and us as American citizens. But right now, let's go to everyone's favorite part of the show, Legends. On today's Legends of the motorcycle scene, we're going to go back to the early 1920s. We're going to talk about Bob Armstrong, 1920s Indian hill climb racer. Bob Armstrong was a talented up-and-coming hill climber during the 1920s. He was a multi-time AMA Amateur National Hill Climb Champion and had just turned professional and was starting to win pro races when he drowned in a tragic boating accident on July 19, 1930. Armstrong was just 21 years old, the son of the legendary Class A racer Ernie Armstrong. Robert E. Armstrong was born in Denver in June of 1909. Armstrong, along with his brothers Bill and Jack, was raised around motorcycles and began hill climbing at the early age. By the time Armstrong was 18, he was considered not only the top amateur, but also one of the top hill climbers in the country, period. As an amateur, Armstrong was often the fastest rider overall at the meet. He set numerous hill records riding Indians and won national amateur hill climb titles in 27, 28, and 29. While racing, Armstrong also made the time to attend business college. His schooling came in handy in the late 1920s when his family took over an Indian dealership in Worcester, Massachusetts. Armstrong ran the dealership in partnership with his father. Besides hill climbing, Armstrong was also a talented ice racer. He won the very first dirt track race he ever entered, but despite his promising start on the dirt ovals, Armstrong was dedicated to hill climbing, which was the sport that was most heavily supported by the factories at the time. By 1929, it was apparent that Armstrong was more than ready to turn pro despite being just 19 years old. Armstrong was setting records just about every weekend he raced. His times more often than not were faster than those set by the pro riders of the day, such as Ori Steele, Howard Mitzel, and Joe Peretti. At the end of the 1929, Armstrong turned pro and promptly went out on his first pro race in Somers, New York, over Peretti, setting a new hill record in the process. The 1930 season started well for Armstrong. He won both the 61 cubic inch professional and 45 cubic inch expert hill climb races at Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Armstrong was considered by many of his peers to be the most naturally talented hill climbers of his day. His rapidly rising career was tragically cut short by the boating accident at the start of his first full year as a pro. Armstrong was exceedingly well liked in racing. His funeral was attended by many of the leading figures of the industry, and numerous tributes were written about him by the motorcycling press. He was inducted into the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame in 1998. Bob Armstrong, a motorcycle legend. And there you go. That's your legend right there. Hill climbs are something else. If you haven't been a hill climb yet, you do not know what you're missing. Besides, the parties are fucking awesome. Anyway, everybody understands what happened yesterday with the election. And before we get into Ask Hollywood and our haters segment, which we got a good one, yesterday's freaking election, the Democrats got a hold of the House, which was expected, and the Republicans picked up in the Senate. So basically, we're gonna have 2 more years of bullshit. But here's what here's a video explaining everything. Yeah, that's the gist of it right there. So, yeah, we're looking at about another 2 years of an investigation, more Democratic crying, the whole 9 freaking yards. But anyway, it's Ask Hollywood time. Mike, well, what's a goose stepper? Goose stepper, that bullshit, man. All the, I irritate the piss out of them. They're over here hating on the channel all the freaking time. And it all started with the mixed race video that I put up. But, yeah, that's what a goose stepper is. Somebody who, yeah, they're fucking that bullshit. Anyway, love the show, Hollywood. I always wake up with my cup of coffee and the biker angle. Rock on, man. Awesome, Jared. I enjoy the motorcycle legend section, and I really do too, man. I really like doing the research for it. I get a lot of it from the Hall of Fame websites as well as other associations, and you get to learn a shit ton of the movers and shakers within the biker community. Okay, what's your opinion on those who are out bad from a motorcycle club? Well, it's none of my damn business. They're out bad, they're out freaking bad, If you don't know what out bad means, I did a video on it somewhere on this channel, so go ahead and take a look at it. Also, I was reading your book, and you mentioned in there how if the Iron Order lost their civil case, it would have repercussions on the rest of the MC scene. Is that what is currently going on with the Mongols? Thanks again, Jarrett. It's kind of similar where the government's going after the Mongols because they're claiming that they're a criminal enterprise, where the Pennsylvania case with the Iron Order is a club responsible for a single member's action. So they're trying to get it at 2 different type of angles, and it's really freaking scary how the Mongol one's going in California. Now, the Iron Order, they beat that one, and from what I understand, the plaintiffs are going to try to appeal that case. You can take a look at a lot, because I do discuss that case in great detail in the Iron Order Motorcycle Club book I just put out. And I discuss a lot of other stuff about the Iron Order Club in there. So you go take a look at it. But yeah, those 2 cases They could have had real freaking raging effects on what motorcycle clubs do, and as citizens in general. It's pretty nuts when the government can go, and if you read my article tomorrow, they're trying to use the trademark law to get the patches, and it's unheard of. It's never been tried before. But yeah, thanks again, Jared, for those questions. Now, let's go to everybody's favorite segment, too. Message to the haters. Oh my God, here we go. Hi, Hollywood. Wanted to forward you this from that joke of a group, BBS. Oh, well, great. Here we go. You know, guys, I know you want to send me shit and stuff, but it's more of a joke than anything. So I know I said the last time it'd be the last, but I found this one thing interesting that fucking Jabba the Cunt sent us, or he sent, or whatever the fuck it is. The idiot claims he was sent in SMA, that was okay, it was sent in to him. I read the response from the Outlaws, and anyone with a brain can see what this guy's about. After reading the responses and hearing he had his old lady handing his club stuff, quote, which had me rolling, what a gangster. Yeah, he had his freaking broad hanging, give his colors back after there was a little behind the scenes stuff that was initiated. He finally, after 3 years, decided to give his shit in, and he had a woman do it. Yeah, he's gangster. It amazes me anyone who would want to be associated with him. Well, you got your, people that don't know no better, I guess. That's the sad state of the MC today. Bunch of wannabe bikers. Thanks for all you do, Brian P. Well, thanks, Brian, for sending this shit in to me. Again, you guys can hold off on this shit because he's like an old story, and he's nothing but a joke, Jabba the Cunt, as I call it. But after I read his little bullshit out there, I'll read the response to his club so you guys can hear it. Kevin, haters everywhere. BBS is great, and with Big Pete, you are the boss. The boss of fucking what? What the fuck is he a boss of? Really? The fat fuck he had his fucking old lady handing his patch, and the dude can't even wipe his own ass. He has to have an old lady wipe his ass. How fucking gross is that anyway, man? So, boss of what? Really? You know what? Before I go into his bullshit, let's read a response that his club put out there. AOA Illinois, Big Pete was not thrown out for having cancer, such as he likes to claim, but rather for betraying and attempting to manipulate this club and its brothers for his own desires and personal gain. He betrayed this brotherhood and what it stands for, just to further his own ego and attempt to manipulate our brotherhood from inside to his own advantage. For this we will not stand for, nor will we tolerate it. Like the disease he has contracted, he became a cancer to this club. And like any other cancer, we have to cut him out and radiate him from our ranks. Ouch! Ouch! Holy shit! This is a club of values including brotherhood, honor, and respect. These are values that Pete James, Big Pete, does not possess, nor does he fully comprehend. He knows the definition of the words, but not what they mean. This club has been in existence since 1935, and for over 80 years, honorable brothers have worn our patch on their backs honorably and proudly. We live by a code of honor, loyalty, and respect. We have no room for internet warriors and cowards like Pete James. And on a different response from AOA, and this was a response to that little fiction of a book he wrote, response to Book and Pete. On the very first page of Pete James' work of fiction, The Last Chicago Blink, he recounts the time his father asked him what he wanted to be when he grew up. His reply, boss. He then tells us he was 12 years old at the time, and therein lies the problem with Pete. He always wanted to be the boss, but the Outlaws Motorcycle Club was built by brothers, not bosses. And that's one reason why Pete didn't last as an outlaw. Not to mention that at 12 years old, most real outlaws wanted to be bikers. By page 9, he tells us that after losing an election for student government, he left nothing to chance, and I rigged every election, altar boy, student council, president of the Letterman and the club. And by the page 12, he tells us that the thought of making a go at drug trafficking, even heading a cartel, sounded attractive. I wanted nothing to interfere with my plans to be the boss of Chicago, end quote. Pete doesn't mean the boss of the Outlaws, he means the crime boss of Chicago, like his mafia heroes in the book The Godfather. Yeah, you know, and by the way, Pete didn't grow up in Chicago. He's not from Chicago. He's from up in Wisconsin. He's not born and bred in Chicago. And at the last Chicago blank, he was nowhere fucking near it. And I actually love how in the message it says he has street rep. He don't have no goddamn street rep. You go anywhere in the area and he's a joke. Everybody laughs about him. You know, we can prove it if you want to go over to Manheim Road. We can, interview and shit with some of the people with them and see how they feel about him. But anyway, I don't think it would be nice with them. Pete continues bragging about his drug dealing exploits. Funny, I never heard of him dealing. I didn't think he was doing shit. You know, I've never heard of any Kingpin Pete, let me tell you. And besides, if that would have happened, then, you know, the real boys would have came out. And his hostile takeover of a local moose lodge where he recruited 35 of his cronies to unseat a moose lodge governor and place himself in charge. And by the way, that's where the Loyal Order, that made-up club of his, that he started off in the first, now a legitimate club, but when he started it, that's where he got the name. So no offense to the Loyal Order, but that's where the name come from. That's where he got it. That's how freaking, smart he is. But it was the control of the lodge and, more important, the treasury. I had to hold an officer's position. In the world of outlaws, honor and respect is everything. And in his book, Pete proudly boasts of being a liar, a sneak, and a bully. On page 21, he praises the outlaws for their loyalty and honor and rights. I needed a way in. As president of the Loyal Order, I had instant legitimacy in the OMG, outlaw motorcycle gang world. The fact that I also had intimate knowledge of the drug trade was a bonus. But being a member of my own club was not going to land me the position of boss of Chicago. For that title, I had to control the club that controlled the city. I needed to fortify my position, align with the Allies, occupy territories, eliminate opponents, and befriend the leader of the Outlaws. And there you have it. By this point in the book, Pete has already written repeatedly about his fanatical desire to be a crime boss and his constant manipulating and scheming. And when he finally gets to writing about the Outlaws Motorcycle Club, he describes them as nothing more than a required stepping stone to satisfying his lust for power. There's no mention of motorcycling, no mention of brotherhood, no mention of travel, tradition, pride, or any of the other things that real outlaws live for. To Pete, the Outlaws were just another part of his rise to the top. For most club members, being an outlaw is the top. The Outlaws Club, Motorcycle Club, is a private organization. We rarely do interviews. We don't make documentaries. We don't write books. And we don't pose for magazines. We don't seek publicity, and we prefer to be left alone. We know that we have a reputation as a violent gang or thugs, a reputation we dispute. But we're willing to live with that falsehood because we know the truth. We're a band of brothers who love motorcycling. Everyone else can think what they want. When one becomes an outlaw, it's made clear that you should ever leave the club for whatever reason. You're not to discuss what you saw or heard. All outlaws agree to this request, and to date, most have honored it. But Pete went back on his word. Hey, no freaking surprise there. He wrote a book full of lies, inflating his own importance. You heard that, right? Inflating his own importance, and then he went on a media blitz to promote the book. Along the way, he said things about the outlaws that are simply not true. He said things that are disrespectful and even did so in a cowardly manner. Well, that's him. He did yeah, that's him. On page 232, Pete makes an astonishing admission. You guys in BBS better listen to this one. He explains that he started a fake motorcycle club for the sole purpose of selling the patches to unsuspecting no voices as a way to make money. He, of course, would control the phony club and he'd keep every penny. When asked why he wanted to start their bullshit club, Pete writes in his book, "Money. I was already planning to keep this venture secret from the outlaws." And wasn't he on your freaking bullshit the other day complaining about people making money off the biker lifestyle? Yeah. How's this one go for you guys over there, man? Anyway, Pete goes on in a great detail of how he exploited the motorcycle club community for his own gain and how he did in fact keep it secret from the outlaws, and for good reason. The outlaws have a long and proud reputation of not exploiting smaller clubs. We don't sell patches, we don't control or organize local clubs. We seek friendship with other clubs and nothing more. Had the outlaws known Pete was using our name to exploit smaller clubs, we would have stopped it immediately. Pete was thrown out of the outlaws because he wasn't outlaw material. His behavior from then on proves that he's not a man of honor and integrity, and he's certainly not a tough guy. No, he ain't a fucking tough guy. Pete was in possession of outlaw property when he was thrown out of the club, and he has refused to return it. He has since returned it, and he had his old lady do it for him. That's your gangster boss. Over here in this message talking about, well, I was this and I was that. He had a woman turning his shit because he's a piece of shit coward. And he calls cops. That's him. Pete was in possession of outlaw property, blah, blah, blah. When an outlaw approached Pete to retrieve the club property, Pete called the police. There's your hero. He's a rat. To date, Pete has, he did. It's a height of disrespect and cowardice. Yeah, it was. He held on it for 3 freaking years. If you read Pete's book and believed every word of it, do yourself a favor and read it again, but look a little closer. Pete's own words will tell you what he's all about, and he's all about Pete, not Brotherhood. Outlaws MC AOA Nation. So, basically, that's the response to, I received this in a messenger, and I won't say his name, but it's always good to see someone who doesn't buy the fake fucks news. Who's fake, you fucking fat fuck? Anyway, glad you're keeping this thing alive. Read and heard a lot of shit about you, but the facts are truth facts. You were a patch member of a real 1%er club for 15 years or so. Now listen to it. This is shit that he said time and time again on when he was doing videos for Insane Throttle. He said it over to the phone to me. He wasn't set in this bullshit. He wrote it to himself in reply to one of the videos. He thinks he's slick. He really does. Problem with him is he can't keep up with all the bullshit that he puts out there. He can't keep track of everything. Anyway, you were chapter president. Yeah, he fucked that one up and lost one of the biggest fucking clubhouses in the nation. And regional VP, you were head of the COC. Yeah, you can listen to what the COC thought of him. You were in there during real war with other club. You got your street real cred. What fucking cred did this guy ever get? He didn't pull any freaking street jobs. None. He didn't pull any. Oh my god. Anyway, this is getting boring to me. So yeah, thanks Brian. Thanks for sending that in and shit like that, but it is kind of freaking boring with him because he's a joke. Listen, the group has like 2,000 freaking members or whatever the hell it is. Half of them, 1,000 of them, sending these freaking stupid messages. And it's getting to be a waste of time with him. You know, he's called Jabba the Cunt for a reason. So let him play his little thing right there. But you know what? When the dude finally bites the dust, he'll know that nobody's going to attend his funeral. Nobody in a fucking motorcycle club that he spent all those years claiming to be brothers with are going to show up to his shit. So he'll just be a miserable old freaking dumbass bastard. That's just the way it is. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not going to waste Biker Angle's time anymore on him. That is the lengthiest response that I'll ever put out there for that idiot. So with that, I really appreciate everything. Again, the orders for the books. Yeah, smoking his ass in that too. The New Age of Biking and Brotherhood and the Iron Order book. You guys are real great and stuff. Sorry for that last segment with message for the haters, man. It just irritates the fuck out of you when you see somebody who's out bad and their club and a club that has big credit to them, and they've been around forever, and one percenters just don't do interviews like that. And then you got all these freaking wannabe keyboard warriors that run to him and, oh man, oh my god, man, get a fucking life. You want to be a biker, get out there and be a biker. You know, if you need advice, and you know, I know the group is, you know, you're getting advice and shit. Get on the fucking street and live it for once, man. Get off that keyboard and shit like that. But anyway, I will hit you guys up tomorrow, and you guys be safe.